Okay. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Lesson Known Classics. This episode number 1856, double number 1956, double number 1850. You're probably thinking, wait, didn't you say the last episode? Well, that was tap on my part was a mistake. But it's definitely this one. So, this first book, now I'm discussing two DC group trades. The first one, I wanted to get my hands on this book for 10 months. Actually, I got this wait for 9 months to get hands on this book, and finally, I got this book. Finally, 9 months after request this book, I finally get it. I read it. It's thick, really thick. We have Justice League International, Book 2, Around the World. Now, the back of this trade is actually a lie. You're probably thinking, how? They say this book collects issues 18 to 17 of Justice League International. That's a lie. It actually goes to issue 30. The first thing is Justice League Europe and Justice League number 1. That part's actually not true either. That is actually a typo. It actually contains number 3 in here. Plus, it contains some bonus books. Now, mostly put what happens in issues. Well, first off, we have John Jones, Big Barda, Gnart, all going to free scot-free, who's at Apocalypse. So, and on the way there, they run the frickin' Lobo, which I think was the first time that anybody from the regular DC universe have run into Lobo. Now, the only reason why he's here is because one of his co-creators writes his book, Keith Giffen. Yes, this book is done by Keith Kim Jandamadius as the writing. The artwork is done by Kevin McGuire. And, of course, the cover is done by Kevin McGuire with Tanya and Richard Horty. And, well, now this cover right here, which is basically from, like, this issue here, this actually was done, according to Kevin McGuire, when he told me about this cover. There's another cover like this one where it's reversed, with Guy Gardner basically holding the collar of Lobo. He said that was done on purpose. So, they run into him, and of course, he gets sent to Earth. So, Batman is asked to do some recruiting. So, he recruits Hawkman. Yes, Hawkman. They also invite people like Captain Atom, Metamorpho, Power Girl. Basically, they're going on a recruitment drive. And the reason for this, well, they help build up Justice League Europe. That's simply the reason for it. Guy Gardner basically becomes brain dead and gets hit in the head. And he starts reading a real life book, I'm Not Spock, which is a book written by Leonard Nimoy, where he tried to, this was because he was very badly typecasted for years. People only think of him as Spock. So, oh, by the way, they do recover scot-free, which Oberon is there too. And we have Oberon running Darkseid, and he's sitting in a comfy chair. Yes, it is so hilarious. And there's even when Batman recruits Hawkman, he tells him to lighten up, which is something that Linkara brought up in his review for when he was talking about the history of the Blue Beetle. So, they even recruit the Huntress to the team, and also Ice Maiden and Fire something, changing to Fire and Ice, which is more easy to spell. So, aside from name change, they decided to also recruit Elongated Man, and of course, they start basically also recruit Anno Man, who doesn't really do much at the beginning, and they'll also have here related, and of course, they also joking here about the Outsiders, which they had split up, which that part was true. They actually had just split up as part of this book coming out. So pretty much basically we have eventually Hawkman is kind of not on the roster a bit after this. Superman is asked to join this particular point in time, but he turns it down because Max Lord. He does join later on when Dan Jurgens on the book. Yep. Superman is actually part of this book when it's called that. Also, here's another typo here I forgot to mention here. It says Justice League International 1827. That is actually a lie because issue 25, the series changed to Justice League America. And it remained under that title until its final issue was released at issue 113. Which that was the only one of the name this book was under that actually stuck for more than like a couple years. So, as having various alien invasions. Eventually, of course, well, one point this one of the strange things happened in this book is that Guy Gardner takes Ice on a date, takes her to see a freaking porno. Yes, for some reason he takes her to a porno, which she's not happy with it. So she punches him. And runs into Black Hand. Yes, a character who at this point in time was referred to as a joke. These issues also a debut of the Injustice League, which is made of Big Sur. I think it's Big Sur, Clock King, Clue Master. I believe we have a Flash film part of this group because this was the first publication version of this group. I know they had sort of a retcon group established later on. So, the initial group was made of Clue Master, Major Disaster, Big Sur, Multiman, and something called the Mighty Bruce. This is basically a version that became the Justice League Antarctica for some reason. It did. Don't know why, but it did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so eventually they do start up to just like Europe. The Europe stuff basically is kind of interesting to say the least because at first the book is written by Keith Giffen, Jane Amadeus at the start of the series. But I believe Keith Giffen leaves after a very brief period of time. Actually, it was Jane Amadeus. Yeah, Jane Amadeus actually leaves with issue 9. And he gets replaced by William S. Loebs for about a few issues. And then the rest of the run is, well, after issue 35, it just basically, well, it came co-writing with Keith Giffen writing until like issue 14 with issue 14. And of course, Gerald Jones is basically the final writer in the book until the book's cancellation. Yeah. Yeah, so they start Justice League They start Justice League Europe, where you have Red Rocket. Yeah, you have Red Rocket, the Flash. This, of course, is Wally West at this point in time. And also, when they celebrate 2 years of this book, they actually had the 24th. By the way, we actually have it where, one point we actually have in issue 27. You're thinking, this cover looks very familiar. That's because it's a cover to The Exorcist, because of course, well, he was brainwashed. Yes. And this is the issue right here where they retire the Justice League America. Now issue 25. No, it was 26. It was still Justice League International by that issue here. Mm-hmm. And here we go. This is Justice League International 24, which the cover is just a reused cover from issue 1. They also used this cover for the first issue of Justice League Europe and the first issue of Justice League Quarterly when they introduced the corporation. Yep. So they add to the roster, like I said, Wally West, Captain Atom, Metamorpho, Animan, Power Girl, Wonder Woman, and Elongated Man. They do mention, though, he was part of the original Justice League. And then when they started Justice League Europe, they usually had troubles when they established their Paris embassy. Now, the thing is, it's revealed that Elongated Man and Catherine, I think Red Rock can speak French, but none of their members can speak French at all, so they have a language barrier problem. Now, why the heck basically Catherine was chosen to lead this team? Because it was military. And Wonder Woman was actually detained for some reason, so they had trouble at start. And of course, the Catherine character, she did join the group. She's basically a French superhero, which, fine. And I like the fact that he's basically spread out to be more international. This book is fantastic. I love it. Now, in case you're curious, though, for the original trade, now they did release these particular series in like a series of like 6 books per se. Yes, it was. Now, this book in particular covers until like book It covers basically in a way the rest of book 3 and goes straight into book 5. It does not cover book 6 yet. No, I do not know why, but it just doesn't for some reason. Yeah. Yeah, the first book just mainly covers the first 16 issues of the series, the first annual, and Suicide Squad. This book just pretty much contains like from 17 to 30, which is basically from like the rest of book 3 and going to book 4, and pretty much finish out book 5. Though in number 2, they actually moved the previous volume for the book because 2 is not here. They put number 3 here for some reason. I don't know why, but they did. Now, in case you're curious, though, is the Breakdowns crossover, is that in trade? Yes, it is. That is actually in trade, believe it or not. Yes, the Breakdowns crossover, which ended Kiki and Jenny Mouse's tenure with the group, with the series, before it was handed off to a few different writers. First, it was Dan Jurgens, and then it was Dan Vito, who did the, book was just like Wonder Woman. The final writer was actually Gerald Jones. Yes, Christopher Priest just wrote just one issue for the series. Yeah, he wrote just one issue. Yeah, the very issue that came just after Dan Vito took over the book. Yeah. But I can't wait to do a book 3 of this one. This book is fantastic. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Now, how far do I think that book 3 should go? If they ever decided to do book 3? Well, excuse me. I think the book should start collecting, at that point in time, issues that were never collected before. Like, don't do just what book 6 did, which is issues like 31, 35, and issues 7 through 11, just like Europe. You should collect more issues beyond those issues. You should collect even further. Like, how far should you get for just like America, per se? Well, if you want to get the mob book issues published about this stick, per se, I would cover from issues for Justice League America 31 to 40. And in the case of Justice League Europe, I would go from issue 7 and won't stop at issue 16. That's my personal guess. If you want them a couple annuals in there, perfectly fine. Yep. Alright, move on to a different book. It's actually released just a year ago, I think this book was. Yeah, a year ago. We have Titans United. Yes. This is simply a book that readers have wanted to see DC do. Look, a Titans book. First time in a couple years, seems like, because they axed the last book. Now, this book basically is more like the adult Titans, and something that was Titans United, done by Calvin Scott. The lineup of this group is pretty simple, really. Nightwing, Red Hood, Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, Connor, and of course later on they add Hawk and Dove to the team. And that's your roster, which that is interesting to say the least. It's like it's a mixture of the classic Marvel George Perez and mixed a little bit with the Jeff Johns stuff. Which, okay, pretty interesting itself. Now, we do have also Blackfire appears in this book, which that's another Teen Titans villain right there. Blackfire, Starfire's sister. And also we see Lady Vic, a Nightwing villain, and she interacts with Nightwing. This probably is the first book she ever actually met him in, which is awesome to say the least. And we also see Kite-Man. I believe this was the first time he'd been seen in DC Comics since Tom King got his run for Batman. Now, most of this one deals with basically invasion of the Citadel. Where, oh, by the way, here's something interesting though. They have 2 headquarters they operate out of because you can see the cover here. That style of tower. Yeah, for some reason, I'm not really sure why this is. They decided to have this Titans team out of the headquarters in San Francisco, which was built in this timeline by Damian Wayne. Yes. A headquarters that was abandoned for no reason at all. I am not kidding. Yeah, they abandoned this building for no reason. Just because Adam Glasgow was going to have the team move to a freaking warehouse. Which, in my opinion, was a stupid idea. Yeah, let me show you what the... Like, clearly it's the tower from the Jeff Johns run. Oh, and also, one thing I do appreciate, though, Connor is wearing his pre-Flashpoint attire, and Noah's not matched like the one from Suicide Squad. Nope. Now, here we go. Look at that. That is the classic Titans Tower from the Jeff Johns run. Yep, and it's out of San Francisco. Why in the world this team out of San Francisco? I have no idea. And also, here's something for you. Blackfire in the correct attire. Yes, Blackfire. Not some radical redesign. Though Donna herself is actually in her, from what I can tell, I believe this is her post Flashpoint look. Red Hood is mostly in his look from post Flashpoint. Hawk and Dove are in their pre-Flashpoint costumes. I believe this was the first time the Hawk and Dove have been seen since the Titans Hunt miniseries. Mm-hmm. Which one I heard was actually supposed to be longer. Yeah, originally was listed to be about 12 issues and it cut to 8 for no reason. I don't really know why that is. Yeah, here's Lady Vic for you in the correct attire. Now, this is not technically her first appearance at all in the post-Flash universe. Her first appearance was basically when Jim Palmiotti and Justin Guerrero were doing Batwing. And they also made Lady Vic a lesbian. Don't know why, but they did. Excuse me, but this book here is so fun. If you're a fan of Teen Titans, I do recommend checking this out because clearly, Calvin Scott clearly loved the Teen Titans because all these guys were consistently really good. They do defeat Blackfire by the very end, and it feels like basically set for some more. Like, oh, maybe get an ongoing series out of this. Nope. Miniseries, another one. I'm like, really, DC? I'm sure people basically, when they read this, like, we want an ongoing series. Like, no, we don't have faith in this book yet. We'll do another miniseries. But with the same writer. Okay, fine. But please, after this next miniseries comes out, please release an ongoing. Because we haven't had a proper ongoing for Titans in 2 years. I mean, I'm not counting Titans Academy. That's basically a school book. I mean, a proper Titans book. There has not been one in 2 years. Now this is the end of Teen Titans. But this book is fantastic. If you're a Titans fan, check this book out. The book is so freaking good. Oh, by the way, the artwork of this book is done by Jose Luis and Don Hoare. Yeah. I mean, look at this artwork here. I mean, despite the fact people were in the post-Flashpoint, some people were in Flashpoint tires, it's done in the style of the Jeff Johns run, artwork from the Jeff Johns run for Teen Titans, which is so awesome to say the least. Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much it for particular review. Next one's going to be a review for The Great Joe Will Be Defeated. Okay, next video. Bye.